Hey, good morning.
Good morning, buddy. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
But I can't complain, man. Doing all right, bud.
Fantastic. Today is a good day. We're going to be talking about one moment. Let me just get rid of this warning. I'm not sure what it is. We're going to be talking about efficiency with anything. If you're a creator with business, I don't care what it is. Throughout the years, there's a lot of things that I have learned because I have ADD. So there's a lot of things that you have to do and tricks and of the trade to become more efficient. And I know that especially when I do consulting work, a lot of my clients, this is one thing that still hinders them. It's the one thing that constantly comes up. And so that's the deal. One moment, I'm going to put my phone on silent. It keeps going off. Anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about today. So your path to efficiency. Let me bring that in. And this is part one of part two series. Next week, we'll finish this one up. And then we have a really cool thing that's going to be happening next week that I'm really excited about when it comes to product creators. So we're going to go over that a little bit before today we end this particular live. Also, I want to just invite anyone that has a question or wants to be part of the conversation. Please feel free to join us with that and ask your question. We'll bring you right on the screen. But to do that, you got to approve StreamYard to allow your question to be on the screen. Dee is also watching Facebook. We are live on Facebook and, of course, YouTube. We're going to be doing this every week, folks. And we might be even doing it twice a week. So we're going to announce that next week as well. So a couple of things that I just want to say real quick, and that is this. We are redesigning LinkBoss, the program LinkBoss. What we're doing is creating a movement. There's a lot of buzz out there. There's a lot of like fake crap out there. We are real people doing real business. We're creators. I ran a turnaround company for 23 years. Dee, you've been in business for how long?
I mean, first started going out on my own in 03.
There you go. So, and people that we bring on as guests, we do the same. We don't talk a lot about, politics and stuff, but once in a while, we got to bring that in due to the fact that our businesses, let's be honest, we get affected by laws and change and all of that stuff. So once in a while, we're going to do it. But I just want to real quickly talk about like being a creator and individuals with podcasts and stuff and how important it is that we are allowed to not only voice our own opinions, right? With disclaimers, of course. What do I mean by that? Like I have a client right now that created a it's not a vitamin, but I don't know what, but it's a supplement. It's a product that helps people that are injured. Especially when you hit my age, you feel all of those things they used to do. I was in martial arts. I played football throughout my youth, and all of those things we feel them now, right? So he created this product, but he's got to properly disclose. So there's a lot of things that we talk about here that you're not going to find. It's hard to find it elsewhere. Like, how do I incorporate? What do I do in LLC? What election do I use? Those are the things that we're going to talk about. But here's the disclaimer. We're not financial advisors. I used to be in that industry. I'm no longer licensed, but we're going to touch on it. But here is the thing. Like, you just got to take our info and talk to your pro, if you have an attorney, a CPA, and stuff like that. We're just giving you direction.
Do your due diligence. We're talking and giving you ideas, and we know what we like and what we want to do, but you got to do your own homework.
You really do, especially today, right? And so it is my duty, Dee's duty, that we bring the best of the best content. We're going to get better with time. None of us love to be on a mic or in a video. We just don't, but we're so passionate about this, and we're creating a movement right now. And I won't stop, which is part of today's path of efficiency. I will die before I ever give up something. Like, it wasn't long ago. Oh, you're still doing that? Like, yeah. That's like asking a doctor, oh, you're still being a doctor? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm never going to stop. Like, I don't plan on even retiring. If you have a question for us today, we're going to talk about efficiencies. We're going to give you some key takeaways today. And I have an amazing takeaway towards the end. We're going to keep this tight today. We are going to end at 9:30. I know a lot of you are probably already to work. Also, give us some feedback. When is the best time for everyone?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Like if you got a good idea of a time or a day that works good, or that kind of stuff, hit us up. Let us know. We're playing around trying to find a good time slot or what works great, and that's why some days we're on 8:30, some days we're closer to 9, just trying to figure this out. But if we're definitely open to suggestions.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, if you have a question, feel free to bring it in. I'm pretty soon going to go to the comment section. D is going to watch Facebook. But I want to talk about Joe Rogan. Here he's a creator, right? Joe Rogan got his start as being a stand-up comic from my understanding. Well, he was a bouncer stand-up comic. And then he got a show called Fear Factor, right? But a lot of people don't realize that even people that are like in the spotlight like that, or shows, they're still creators. Like, they have to sell themselves. Like, they are the product.
Oh, well, yeah. And every day he's coming up with what he's talking about. He's creating this show, this content every day.
Absolutely. And here's the other thing about Joe. He's a great guy, but he's got his own opinions. I don't believe in smoking pot. He does. Like, I'm okay with it. I don't have to do it, right? I really do believe. I follow Dr. Amen. I'm trying to get Dr. Amen on, and believe it or not, like, we're really close. He's an incredible guy. Why do I want to do something like that? Tim, what does Dr. Amen have to do with business? If you don't get your health right, like, for instance, my wife and I'll have a cocktail, like a beer. I quit it. Like, if we go out to dinner, I have one or two. That's it. It's not good for you. Alcohol is not good for you. I'm convinced of it. Like, I'm convinced, right? So I'm trying to do, I know you got your health right. I'm trying to be a better version of myself, and it starts with your health. Dr. Amen always talks about, if you protect your brain, it protects your heart, and everything falls in line with that. So anyway, so he's somebody that scanned a lot of brains, and he sees a lot of damage. One was, I believe on his show, it was Miley Cyrus, right? She came into him because she was just having like memory issues and all sorts of congenital problems, right? So he scanned her brain. He's like, what the heck? Like, it was the brain of 80 something, right? And you could probably find the video somewhere on YouTube. And so he had to tell her, like, what are you doing? And she was smoking a lot of dope. So, and by the way, I'm not a hater. So once again, we're just sharing our opinion. We're also reporters. We learn stuff and we report back on it. But going back to Joe Rogan, he's a creator, and the guy doesn't stop. Like, he's just incredible. What I mean by that is, he's very confident what he does, and he brings thought-provoking people on. So here's my problem that I'm having. He brought on a scientist before, and he brought on a doctor. This doctor had a lot to do with the vaccine, right? Who are you going to listen to? Doctors, or like somebody who wants to take their music off of Spotify? It's like, I just don't understand where we're going as a nation. Like, this is crazy.
No, it really is. It is unbelievable.
I don't care what side you're on.
It's like they always need to target someone. They always need to target the hate.
Yes.
They always need someone to put like their whatever on, and it seems like right now Joe Rogan's like the hot button.
Yeah. Let me bring on Tom's question here. My eyes are horrible, so this is amazing for me because it just brings it from the screen on. The only disclosure that somebody needs on a podcast is the opinion of the viewer. Absolutely. Think of all the shows. Oprah. That shit didn't happen back then, right? Like, they had people on that talked about, like, I just don't understand. Now, once again, I I am not one of those controversial. I take information and I dissect it myself. Like, right? Isn't that
Right.
what you do? Like,
Well,
I
yeah.
make my own opinion. That's
Yeah.
it.
No. You know,
And
and
we're
all
not going to talk about vaccines and stuff like that.
no, no,
That's not
no.
what this
But
is.
all of us have friends on both sides of the fence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're my friends and they're
Right.
my family.
That's exactly right. So you know what I mean? Do it, do it
If it
yourself.
ever gets to where it starts to get heated, I'm like, you know what? You mean wait, if you and I, let's say you were a liberal, because I'm not, your friendship means way more to me than your beliefs. And I know you're not, but not that there's anything wrong. It's just, listen, that's the deal. Okay, let's get into it. So with Joe Rogan, he's a creator. He's got a podcast that does extremely well. He's doing huge things. Bert Little. Yes, best podcast. I love it too. I mean, I really do. Joe Rogan's a great guy. And do I do I agree with everything and everyone that's on his show? Absolutely not. I just don't. So if you have a question, today's about efficiency, path through efficiency. Even with Joe's program, he's probably going to have a little more disclosures, which is probably a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Even our show, these are the opinions of us and the opinions of the specialists that are going to come on the show. These are people that are really doing it, opposed to some professors. I'm not saying all, but some professors in colleges. Some people think I'm a college hater. No, there's a time for that. But we have people really doing it and getting real results and are just good at what they do. I think that's what Joe was doing. He got a lot of criticism for it. I just hope it doesn't, like, talk about fear factor. I hope it just doesn't throw him into a corner. We can't have that. We just really can't.
No. You know what I mean? Like, if they can do this, then they can do it to anybody, and everyone's in trouble. You know, Tom had another comment where says Joe doesn't interview with an agenda, tries to guide the conversation towards a directed end. He asks good probing questions and let the guests go where they want.
Yeah, not always does he agree.
Right, exactly.
I've seen him literally disagree, and you know what he says? Listen, I disagree with your point of view.
Right.
That's exactly how it should go.
That's exactly right.
My wife doesn't always agree with me, probably more than I don't agree with her. So there's that. So, but we don't get a divorce over it. Like, we really got to get away from being a cancel culture society. We really do. And it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican or liberal or whatever other sides there are. We're all Americans. We really got to get past all this stuff. And then, with business, there's a lot of things that are going to affect a lot of people right now, like these tax hikes. That's affecting the people, the companies that help the economy grow, especially small business.
Right. And that's the one thing I never understood. They, they're gonna do the tax hikes to the businesses. Where do you think the businesses are gonna make up that money from? It just takes money out of the economy. And that's they pass on and raise the cost, and they, you want to call it inflation, you want to call it whatever, but they're going to jump up the price on goods to cover the increased costs that they're not going to take it out of their profits.
You're exactly right. And I just, anyways, but here's the thing. My feeling is this: don't be just silent. Like, there's so many people say, Tim, I don't even, you still have opinions. You still have a voice. Share it. I apologize if I cough. I'm getting over a cold. So, okay, let's go on to the next one. So, one of the things that I believe for the path of efficiency is how to see things through from start to finish. I know you and I are involved in a lot of things. Like, we have a direct to consumer product, which is Grub Guys. We have SaaS systems, right? We have a teaching portal where we educate small businesses and online business. And if you don't have this you're going to lose. Like there's so many people that start, but they never finish. And
Well,
we're going to talk about ways
right.
to do
I mean,
this.
that's the thing. Cradle to grave. Cradle to grave. Whether you can do it by yourself or it takes a team. Maybe you're good at one part and then another guy's good at a different part. But however you can get there, but you got to see it from start to finish.
And one of the best ways to do that is have a management system to where, you in coding, my company, Spartera, we followed the Scrum methodology, right? So it's the Scrum method. And then there's Kanban. Kanban is you can keep making changes. With Scrum, you have a list of things that have to be done, like tasks, and then you move them into production, and then you move it into finished product. When you do that, now you're seeing things through. And we have a framework inside.
Well, I would say like Linkboard. You know what I mean? Like is a perfect tool. Is a perfect tool to help you stay on track and stay on schedule and stay on time.
Yeah, you don't even have to, like, we have Linkboard. We'd love to have you come over because we have a lot of good stuff in there. It's going to really help you. But there's other management companies out there. So there's other CRMs. We're a little partial to ours, but listen, you don't have to go, but get something that's going to manage the project and see it through. There's so many people. It's like, Tim, I've got this business idea, or I got this product idea. Get it out of the mind, get it on paper, flush it out originally. Like just flush it out. What does it look like? I have somebody right now that's wanting to write a children's book. What's that going to look like? How many pages? What does the cover look like in your mind?
Right.
Do you need a designer? Like now you're going to put teams together. It starts out with, how many times have you heard somebody started a business on a napkin or a product on a napkin?
Oh, dude, you hear about it. I honestly used to hear about it a lot more than you hear about now, but you hear it all the time. Of course, that was before the days of iPhones and all that other stuff.
Yeah, a good friend of mine, Dave Yarns, and I we had some mutual friends saying, "Hey, you guys got to know each other." Eventually, we did that. Him and I went to a local coffee shop, which I still miss to this day. But we're there, and literally on a napkin, we fleshed out because he had a product in his head. I already had a product, and he's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you have that. I've been wanting to do this." And we blended those two together, and we came together and created a company called Proactive Servicing. And then unfortunately though, and this is going to happen with business people, unfortunately, when we were doing that and the government at that time, because there's this fallout, they made this law. And because of that law, it kind of like pushed those businesses. There was no need for them because now the government took over, which was a really bad idea. Like their method of fixing it was horrible, but at the end of the day, what do? You move on. So it's just another product. So you got to see it through. So some of the things that I'm going to tell you, you got to get into what I call flow state. And I'm going to help you with flow state. Now, we live in a society today that they got a drug for everything, right? You can put yourself in flow state so many different ways, right? What does flow state really mean? What does it mean to you, D? If I was to say flow state,
I mean, to me, like I don't want, with another analogy, but like you're in the groove. You know what I mean? Like no distractions. Like you're just focused on what you're doing, and it's just coming out of you, and you're you know what I mean, jamming.
Yeah, and I would highly suggest that you got to remove all distractions. Okay, remove all distractions. There's even video. Now I pay YouTube so I don't hear commercials. So it really works for me. I have a speaker up here somewhere, and I can put on this flow state music that is designed to keep you in flow state. Meaning, have you ever been working on something that's like, oh my gosh, 3 hours just went by? Yeah. Or you worked through lunch and you weren't even hungry. Like you forgot, right? That's flow state. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
And we have ways to teach you of flow state too inside LinkBoss or Linkboard. But getting into flow state it starts that. So you're going to frame things out. What does it look like? What is it going to take? Think of a house. You got to have the foundation, then you got to stick build it or however it's going to be built. Everything comes down to a series, right? And a checklist, but you got to see it through and then have a date for the finished product. You got to have a date. So if you have some sort of work that's due for a client, have a finish date for that to happen. Okay, so moving on. And by the way, if you do have a question, feel free to drop it in. You might have to allow StreamYard so we can bring it in front of the screen. Otherwise, still put it in there and D will be looking at it. So if you have a question regarding even momentum and being overwhelmed, how do you deal with overwhelm, right? Overwhelm is a big one. With overwhelm,
you know, you need to get back to basics. When you're overwhelmed, you go back to basics. Take the first step. You know what I mean? Which is always the hardest, but just, like, don't look at the mountain, look at your next step. And then look at your next step. You know what I mean? At least that's how I, deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's better just to back up, reassess, look, and then, you know what I mean? Just take a step forward. And then the more you step forward, the more the pathway will become clear.
You're absolutely right. And by doing so, you have to do this. I mean, this is an absolute must. All of us right now have ADD because society is forcing it. Like, we have too many things that are getting our attention and distractions. You have to do what's called time blocking. Actually, I'm going to create that. Time blocking is what really saved me. And once you learn this, time blocking is where you literally shut off the phone, unless there's a reason why you have to be, like you have kids in school and stuff like that. I get that. So, but shut off the phone otherwise, or put it on silent and block out that time of work, and nothing interferes with that time. And I'm getting better with this. I don't even return email until the end of the day. Here's another tip with time blocking. With email, have two accounts. One, people that owe you something. So let's say I needed you to do something and, hey, D, can I delegate this to you? And yeah, Tim, I'll take that on. Okay, well then when you send that work or whatever, or inside Linkboard, we already have it to where it's part of the program.
Right.
You would then email. So if I'm looking for email, I need a contract, I need something from somebody else, there's a special email for that. That I'm going to check in the morning. I want to see where all of my delegated stuff or things that people owe me is being done, right? For those that want something from me, I look at that, and it's not like I don't give them priority. It's at this point, those are interruptions, right? Because somebody might be just wanting your time or want to pick your brain or stuff like that. So if somebody needs something from me, I will check that. Usually I check it right around 1, and then I check it again at 7. And then the same thing, it gets repeated the next day. By doing that, you're not going to get into that rabbit hole where once you go into email, it's got you, right?
It's funny you say that because, like, yeah, once you get on your computer, do that stuff, then the next thing you know, you're like on Facebook, just scrolling, and you're like, how did I even get here? But like, once you open up the distraction, it just carries. You know what I mean? I better check Instagram. I better check Facebook. I better check Business Suite. Then all of a sudden, your emails. All of a sudden, an hour goes by. You're like, crap.
Without a doubt. A matter of fact, I've seen a lot of time wasters. And that's another thing with time blocking. Morning, I get up at 4. So between 4 and 5 is me time. So I'm having my coffee. I meditate. I'll either go in my sauna, and then I work out, or I work out, go in the sauna, I shower, and then I'm on with team. Usually my first team call is at 6. and then I have another team member at 7, and then client work type stuff. But what I do is all of my really high productive, energy needed tasks or meetings are going to be in that morning between, let's just say 7 until noon. And the reason for that is right around 12, and this was a study, you start losing energy. Okay. And the other thing I would suggest that if you do take a lunch, make it a small meal, because if you have a large lunch, you're going to burn right out. So that's what I do. And what I love about with even now, I try to keep my lunches short. So if we are going to a lunch, I'll go at 11, because nobody goes at 11, right? Everybody goes at 12, and it takes you longer to get your food and all this other stuff, right?
Right.
Or I'm wanting to do more like right from my desk. So I'm limiting going out for lunch. If I do it at 11, because you're in and you're out. You have less traffic on the road. There's all these things. So that's time hacking. Like, you got to find your sweet spot for things. So that is another thing. So time blocking, this is big, like from high level clientele to anybody can use time blocking. You got to know productive hours versus non-productive hours. Don't do a low end task during productive hours. And then the other thing I would highly suggest with time blocking on Monday, all of the really tough things that keep you up at night, hopefully those are going away, right? But those things that gnaw at you, hit them right away.
Right.
Even if you can on the weekend, hit it right away. Don't hide your head in the sand, because you gotta do it anyway, eventually, right? You might as well just hit it right away. I'm one of those guys. I got bad news and good news. Which one do you want to hear first?
I always take the bad news first.
Always. Because the good news is the cherry on top, right?
Well,
So
I want to end on a good note. I don't want to end on a bad note.
Yeah, and you got to be quick with your decision making. And here's the other thing. So with time blocking, here comes this. So this efficiency is an incredible thing. With time blocking, once again, you're going to know your times. And by the way, we have a quick cheat sheet in Link Boss, the group, that's downloadable. So you can go there and get this. But and what we do is color coordinate the day, color coordinate the week, so that you know the best times to do what. And then from there, just-in-time learning. This, my friend, is going to stop a lot of the overwhelm. Like, there was an old saying, like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? One bite at a time. So the same is true with everything. If you want to become super efficient, super productive, you got to get really good at time blocking and really good at this. If you just take away these two things today, you're going to see a huge improvement in your business. By the way, I'm going to talk about that. You and I, I'm not going to say names, but we talked about a restaurant that before the pandemic, they were only open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
That's it.
Not Sunday. Yes or no?
No.
Okay. That one I didn't remember, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Now watch this. This is incredible.
It was funny because it always made me mad, because that place would be perfect for like Sunday after church lunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm so glad you brought that up.
You know what I mean? And we went down there once, and they were closed. Like,
Matter of fact, the number one time for breakfast for sales is Sunday.
Right.
Bob Evans gets a ton of business. So time blocking, time hacking has to do with think about the time. So watch this. So this restaurant, and it's not the only one, by the way, come to find out this is a thing. And this is probably where they got it from. So here's the deal. Now, all of a sudden, what are we seeing because of the pandemic and all these other things that's going on? Lack of people, right?
Right.
You're seeing that a lot of restaurants now are closed until Wednesday. And this is throughout the United States. More so probably in smaller areas. But here's the deal. With this original company that did it before the pandemic, I ran into this one guy and I said, just curious as to why. Like, you're missing. No. He goes, we found that you're actually losing money on those days, paying staff when you don't get a lot of business, wasted product, if you will, product that expires, goes to waste. We found that it's a lot more productive to be open Wednesday through Saturday, because now the clients or the customers that love our product or love our restaurant, they know that's our hours. So guess what? We're going to win, where they can just say, well, we'll just go to the other restaurant another day. Right.
Right.
Now you got to have good product, of course. And
Right.
I just thought that was really, really a good deal there. And get this, they actually increased their income, and other restaurants have found they increased their income by doing that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well,
So-
it's funny because Jamestown and Lakewood's definitely a little different scenario than like on the north end of the lake.
Yes.
Find a place to eat around here this time of year on a Monday, Tuesday.
Without a doubt.
It's hard pressed. I mean, there's only a couple options. Which, honestly, for those businesses, like everyone else is closed at like Monday lunch. A lot of places are closed, so places that the one or two places that are open do well.
Yes.
Hair
salons are usually closed on a Monday. If a hair salon specialized on Monday, they're going to get a lot of sales.
Right. I don't know too much about hair salon hours, obviously.
No, I don't either. Too funny. All right, let's move on. So One moment. So just-in-time learning. So just-in-time learning is a big one, because for those that get overwhelmed, especially if you're a product creator, you're trying to learn all of it.
Right.
You're trying to learn all of it. Matter of fact, when we go to teach with our courses, it's instructional. Like, okay, after this video, do the assignment, or after this video, do that thing. Right. Just-in-time learning. It's the only way. Like, if you think you have to learn the whole thing, well, I got to do this and I got to do this before I start. No, what is the one thing that's going to move the needle?
Let me say this. Like, you need to know where to find the resources.
Yes.
You don't have to memorize all of it and know all of it. But if you need to go back and refer to something or look at something quick, and this is what I kind of, the just-in-time learning, you know what I mean? Like, you know where to pop it up, you know where to read it, you got it, go apply it,
Without a doubt. Yeah. And that's a learn and apply. Because here's the thing, by the time, think of college, you're there for 2 years, 4 years, whatever, right? By the time you come out, yeah, of course you're going to retain some of it, but most of it's outdated by the time you come out. So there's that.
Right.
And then there's a lot that you didn't even retain.
Well, no. And then you don't, then part of it you don't need to use for 5 years, and you forget it, but you know where to look it up if you need to learn how to relearn it.
Right. So just-in-time learning, just learn what you need to now, keep it going. So if you're creating a product, what is the very first thing you need to do? Do that. Then you want to test market, because I've seen people create a product just to find out nobody wanted it. Right. So test your product. A good place to do that is even Kickstarter, right? You can have mock-ups and all that. And there's places where you can go to Fiverr. There's all sorts of places where you can get mock-ups, but do that. And then as you're building, you're going to go to the next level. By the time you're done with the last thing you needed to learn, you got a product,
right?
Or you got a service, or whatever it is that you're doing. Like, whatever it is, if you're going to build a podcast, just get going. That's the very first thing. I know I waited way too long. I used to have a podcast, The Biz Room, on Blog Talk Radio. And oh my gosh, it took me forever to get it going. I should have just went, that's the bottom line. All right. So listen, next week we're going to go really in depth. This is just framework. This is the spark, what you can do to get things going and to create momentum. If you just come away with that time blocking, that's a huge one. But we're going to go in depth with that, and we have a quick sheet for people next week as well. Also, I want to invite people that join our group.
All the links are in the Facebook comments.
Awesome. And by the way, if you have a question, I don't care what it is, you got a business that you're wanting to start and you just need some direction. We did, my gosh, I think my wife and I, when I had a business turnaround, it was right around 2,700-ish companies that we turned around. These are companies that were ready to go under. Okay. Some of them were litigated companies where we had to negotiate with who was suing them. So we know a thing or two about what causes a business to fail. And it's not just underfunded. That's not, a lot of people think that's the number one reason. No, there's a multitude of reasons. The number one reason is that they did not really think the product through all the way. How many people start a restaurant that fails because they just didn't have that structure down? So there's some things that you can do that can help prevent you failing at business. So if you have questions, concerns, if you're a creator and you want some feedback, feel free to ask.
Yeah.
And join the group. The Facebook group is called Link Boss, LYNKBOSS. We have a lot of cool things that are going to be starting to happen now. And we also have a challenge. We're going to challenge people to get a product going. I don't care if it's a book, children's book. I don't care what your product is, physical or digital. We specialize in digital, but we also have physical. We have a product, it's called Grub Guys, right? And a few others. I've got this being made, this time cube, only because what's out there doesn't have what I want and need. If it's already out there, then you got to be careful with the Me Too type thing. But at the end of the day, if you have a better version, then yeah, go for it. But test it. Make sure that people want it. So if you have a question, feel free to answer it. When we go live, we have a really cool thing next week that we're going to be doing. And it's going to be part 2 of this. And we're going live at 8:30. So come with some questions. If you have something that is holding you back, you're stuck. And we get that a lot with my clientele. Matter of fact, I'm working, like I said, with the gentleman with his product. He was stuck. He just didn't know what to do next. He was stuck. Part of time blocking is getting unstuck. Like, don't keep staying there. You got to do something about it. What's the next thing what is the problem? What's holding you back? You have a business idea. What's holding you back from starting it? Oh, Tim, I just don't have the money need. Do you know how easy it is to get money today? Like, seriously, like, you can get funded today. So depending on what the deal is. Alrighty, D, any last parting words?
No, just looking forward to next week. I mean, this is a great topic. That's why I made it a 2-parter.
Yeah.
So
yeah, next week we're diving in deep. Like, this is next level stuff that's really going to get you where you want to go. And I got to believe after next week, if it doesn't put more in your bottom line, then something's wrong. So it's truly going to increase your bottom line. My last client, I'm going to share this one real quick as a teaser, came to me. I'm like, why are you so low? Like, his expense was like what he charged for what they do. I said, you got to increase that. Immediately they did it. They believed it. They realized that their information was that good, to where at first it's like, I don't think people would pay that. And I'm like, trust me, people need that. As soon as he increased that, and the next person that came through, and he says, by the way, there's a method of how they have to do what's called phone sales. They explain the benefits of what they're going to do because they weren't doing that. They weren't given the benefits. Once they explain the benefits of what they're going to do for their company, and then here's our fee. It was like, okay, what do you need? What do you need us to do? We're going to send you a contract. And boom. Like, he's like, oh my God, it worked. Well, of course. And by the way, we're guilty of it too. Come on.
No, 100%.
Listen, we have to practice what we preach as well. There's times I fall off the rails, but at the end of the day, you just keep following these principles, and you will see the wins, more wins than losses.
Right.
Alrighty.
You know, and that's the thing. Don't be afraid to take the one step backwards to reassess, because a lot of times that means 2 steps forward. I mean, you're gonna be ahead of where you were. So don't be afraid.
Without a doubt. I remember when, and all of a sudden I'm seeing your vision. You had this vision, with Loud, and seeing it through and seeing the life. You know what's cool with yours is I see the life. Like, first it's a vision, right?
Right.
Remember that movie, like, You Build It, They Will Come?
Right.
Some of it's kind of true and some of it's not. Like, if you don't do the work, it's not good. And it's got to be good. But you had this vision, which was an idea of what you wanted. And now you got like social proof, like that your idea was a good one. Does that make sense? Like seeing people on trails, seeing people all gathered right there at Loud. It's just cool to witness that. Like, because I remember the conversation, even though you were doing it, wasn't quite like it is today.
No.
It's really, really neat to see that. So,
well, thank you.
Alrighty. We'll see everybody next week. D, if you can hold on for a moment.
Yep.
Everyone, listen, we'll see you next Wednesday, 8:30. We're going to go live. Also, real quick, if there's other time slots that you think would be better, feel free to give us feedback on that.
Yeah, exactly. Please, please reply, because constructive criticism and some ideas never hurt. So we love to know it, and we'll play around and see what works.
Absolutely. Love it. All right, my friend.
See you everyone next week.